Tonight, our exclusive interview with the legendary voice of Roxxgang, Kevin Steele, with your host, the queen of metal podcasts, Bonnie Freemuth.
Welcome back to Band Chat, ladies and gentlemen. You guys know me. I'm the lead singer for Innocence Torn, and this is Band Chat. Today, you guys, I have one of, if not the top #1 bucket list interview. I am so proud today to introduce everyone to Kevin Steele. Yay! Hi, Kevin. How are you?
You're making me blush.
That's my job. That's my job. So,
how's you doing? How's everybody doing out there?
Really good. Hoping, this weather holds up. We hear we're going to get snow soon. So, it's a good time to get some podcasts done. So let's do a little bit of history. For those people who are not familiar, which I cannot imagine. You started out in 1988 in a band called Roxxgang, correct?
That's right. Well, Roxxgang was going for a good few years before that, but that's when we got signed, 87, 88.
Yeah, you guys were like the first rock band to be signed to Virgin Records, right?
We were, and that was kind of a double-edged sword because Virgin was really cool to us as far as who do you want to produce your album? Well, everybody in the band was a big fan of the band Kix, and they had just put out Midnight Dynamite, and we thought it sounded great. So we want Bo Hill to produce us. Yeah. Virgin, no problem. Who do you want to direct your first video? Nigel Dick had just done Sweet Child of Mine for Guns N' Roses. No problem. But the other side was being their first hard rock band. I don't think they really knew how to publish it, how to promote us. They'd been before us. Virgin had a lot of artsy fartsy bands, Now since us, they've had the Rolling Stones, Iggy Pop, Lenny Kravitz, David Bowie. But yeah, one of my A&R guys was Lyric Weymouth, who is Tina Weymouth's brother, Tina Weymouth from the Talking Heads.
Yeah.
And when we recorded, after Things You Never Done Before, we were demoed out the songs that we thought were going to be our next album on Virgin. And he said, they're great, but you're not pushing the envelope. And he said, do you know that song by the Divinals, I Touch Myself? And I was like, this guy doesn't have a fucking clue. So
right. So yeah, I mean, when you I got to ask you guys are originally from St. Petersburg, Florida, and I've been there. I mean, you guys are a bunch of guys coming out of Florida, hitting the scene, melting faces, taking over stages. My God, you guys hit the ground running. Were you surprised by the popularity of not only, the first album, but, coming out of Florida and all of a sudden here you guys are and, mainstream everything, just all of a sudden too. It felt like to us, at least.
Well, a lot of people are surprised to find out, fans of ours are surprised to find out that they think there was some kind of big scene thriving in Florida. Well, there was not.
No.
And, I was a kid who moved down here when I was like 14 from right around Cleveland, Ohio. So I was I was heavily into like English glam when I was a kid, like T-Rex and Mott the Hoople and Bowie and over here on the stateside, the New York Dolls and Iggy Pop. And I moved down to Florida and my new friends are listening to Leonard Skinner, and just because of the music I grew up on, when having a band became a reality for me, I thought it was a prerequisite for the singer to wear eyeliner. I didn't give it a second thought. But I had to drag my Florida bandmates kicking and screaming into the glam scene. They didn't want to wear mascara, and until they found out how many girls they were pulling, then they couldn't put that shit on fast enough,
Right. I get that. And that was one thing that I really loved about you guys when you guys came on to the glam scene. You kind of had that look. It was really sultry, extremely sexy. But you guys were so different in the fact that you were a lot more real to me. Your music was more real. You could feel it a lot more. I know that as a kid, I got my first tape, Things You've Never Done Before. I got that thing and I couldn't keep it. I swear. And it was before, we had, enough dignity not to bootleg everybody's stuff. We weren't mindful of that. I kept taking this thing everywhere I went, and everywhere I went, it kept disappearing. I was really shocked I think I might have made 200 copies of that my entire time up there. And it's really funny to me because that album still disappears from my home now. So you guys really made an impact, clearly.
Well, thank you for sharing, whether you wanted to or not. Thank you for sharing. But I think coming from Florida kept us, like, Roxxgang was not singing Cherry Pie or Unskinny Bop. We were far removed from that LA rock scene musically. Now, visually, you might want to draw some comparisons, but I ask people to remember, when Roxxgang started, there was no MTV. No, the world had not been turned on to Motley Crue or Poison or any of those bands. And like I said, my glam influences were from the 70s. And when that whole scene exploded, the whole Sunset Strip thing, by the time Roxxgang got signed in the late 80s, it looked like we were like jumping on a bandwagon, but we predated most of those bands. And our music couldn't have been more different. And I always felt we were much darker than those. And then when the big backlash came against all the hair bands, when grunge came out, I felt we were unfairly lumped in with those bands. But I mean, I could, I guess we looked, I don't know. And maybe they were influenced by the same bands look-wise, but not musically.
Right.
And it sucked when grunge came out. I remember we were recording our first album, Things You've Never Done Before, in Hollywood at the studio called The Enterprise. And I was watching MTV in the lobby while somebody was doing guitar tracks or something. And the first Nirvana video came on. And I saw the first Soundgarden video before our album ever even came out. So I didn't know it at the time, but like we were kind of done before we even started, because overnight, all the program directors at radio stations across the country were like, we are not playing this anymore. We're playing this.
And that's not just a point of view. That actually happened. It literally was overnight. I remember when that Nirvana came out, I remember everybody looking at each other, and everything about our music industry, our vibe, where we were, completely changed. And there was no more glam, there was no more fun, there was no more nothing. And we were really all, as fans, kind of stuck to be like, we hate this shit. Like, why would you do that to us? We were having so much fun. I mean, I get it.
I think, I don't like dumping on people, but like, I think it got so oversaturated with the huge success of bands like, Motley Crue or Poison. All the labels were in this mad rush to sign anybody that, like, you had to have that hair and makeup and everything. But not all those. The thing about glam rock is you got to be able to carry that look, So like, if you're freaking Dee Snider, you look like a clown, You look like a bunch of New York truck driving looking dudes and Twisted Sister, and all of a sudden they couldn't carry the look. And there was look, Twisted Sister sold a gazillion records, more than I ever did. But so who am I to give them advice? But
You're not wrong.
Have a little freaking, integrity. It's like, I knew right from the start that if I was going to have a glam band, that the window of opportunity, age-wise, was very small. You get to a certain age, it's not appealing. It's creepy. You know what I mean? Look, Steven Tyler's he's got to be pushing at 80, And, I give him all the credit in the world for his physicality and that he can do what he does and still wear those clothes and stuff. But just because he can, should he? And their songs are still aimed at prepubescent teenage girls. It's freaking creepy, man.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. But, I got to say, you've held your looks up real well, sir. Like, you still look like, old Kevin Steele. I love it. I love it. And you know what? And I've noticed that, if you're really, truly, you live by that music, that passion, that love, like your looks really don't change. You're just a little bit more, demure in it instead of, still wearing like suspenders with your man boobs hanging out. Like nobody wants to see that shit.
Well, that's the thing.
Go ahead.
80s fans are the most loyal fans there are, but they do not want you to change.
Yep.
And like David Bowie didn't stay Ziggy Stardust forever. He grew up, he matured.
Yeah.
My musical tastes have matured since I was 25 and in Roxxgang,
Yeah.
My writing, hopefully my writing has matured too. And like, I'm not saying you can't rock out, just be a little more, there's ways to do it. You have to age gracefully,
I agree with that. And you know what? I was so excited when one of the radio stations, actually the radio station that I rebroadcast our podcast, I saw a advertisement that they did and said, we've got Kevin Steele's new song. And I'm like, what? No, like right now, I want to know everything, what's going on. I hadn't heard your name in a minute. And I was really thinking, in my younger age, that this wasn't going to be the last time that we saw you. I was hoping not. You have so much talent, but your writing skill is absolutely on key. And you usually write when someone needs to hear that, So you decided that you were going to do your first solo album now. What got you to the point where now you're like, okay, now's my time. Let's fucking do it.
Well, I wasn't planning on doing an album. If you'd have talked to me a year ago, I would have probably said I was done with all this. I had a little scare a couple of years ago. They found a brain tumor. It was benign, thank God, but I still had to have brain surgery. I had to have brain surgery, And then I'm back 100%, but like I was trying to remove as much stress from my life as I could. And rock and roll lifestyle can be pretty stressful sometimes, And I wasn't planning on doing an album. And it had been several years since I'd performed live, but I never stopped writing. I find writing, well, I enjoy it, but I find it therapeutic too. Writing songs is a lot cheaper than therapy. And so I made the acquaintance of this hotshot guitar player who lives down here in Tampa Bay. His name is Billy Summer. And he's like 10 years younger than me. And when I got to talking to him, he was saying, man, when I was learning how to play guitar, I wore that Roxxgang tape out, learning your licks, you guys. And then he found out I had these songs laying around. And he said, he's got a home studio. And he said, why don't you come over to my studio and record a couple songs? I could pay you. It was his way of paying me back, And I figured, what the hell, I had written a couple of songs that I thought were pretty good ones. And I would get bummed sometimes thinking, wow, this is a decent song and nobody's ever going to hear it, And so I went over there and things just came together so quickly and naturally. And we just had this like musical, how twins finish each other's sentences?
Yes.
Sometimes. Well, me and Billy would like complete each other's musical thoughts. I'd be expressing a thought to him and he had finished before I even, got done telling him where I was going. So everything just came together so quick. Pretty soon, 2 songs turned into 5, 5 turned into 10. Next thing I knew, I had an album, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, excuse the old lady glasses here, but I am no spring chicken, and I'm okay with that. So this album is called One Thing Left to Do. I thought, okay, So what's the story behind that? But I guess you kind of just explained it. Like maybe this is like your destiny. You had something else that you needed to do because now it's on your terms. You're no longer defined by either, creative differences or a record label holding you back or deciding what your fate in the future is going to be. You're not going to have a new Nirvana. This is on your terms, correct?
Plus, I like to be a little ambiguous in my titles and lyrics so that people can interpret it more than one way. And, my first album was Things You Never Done Before, and this is One Thing Left to Do. And I'd already written the title song, before I had decided on the title of the album. And I when I was looking for a title for the album, I thought, well, maybe I should call it One Thing Left to Do, because this very well could be the last album,
Well, I hope not. I hope not.
I don't know now, though, because in making this album, I got the juices going again. Just since the album's been completed, like I've got another 5 songs in the can. So whether it's going to be another album, or I'm going to release singles, I don't know, but I guarantee you have not heard the last of Kevin Steele.
I love hearing that, and you heard it right here first on Band Chat, y'all. So this time around, though, and I had to take some notes because there was so much new information about you. The first of which I think I read on Blabbermouth that this is actually going out on your own record label.
My brother Brett, who has managed my career since day one, he has a management company, and now he's got his own label, Steel Records. So it's coming out on his label. And this whole thing has just been so stress-free because it's like Billy and I produced the album. So I didn't have to bump heads with any producer trying to mess with my songs, which has happened in the past. I've been lucky enough to work with like Bo Hill, Jack. My band after Roxxgang was called the Mojo Gurus, and Jack Douglas produced one of our albums. I mean, he's produced Aerosmith, Cheap Trick, the New York Doll. He was working with John Lennon when he died. And so all of a sudden, Jack Douglas has some screwy idea that you don't dig. Like, how do you tell Jack Douglas, hey, man, I'm not digging your vibe? And so this time there was nobody to compromise with. When you're in a band with 4 or 5 guys, you're in a band, right?
Yes, I am. Lead singer for a band called.
You're in a band, right?
Yes.
So you know as well as anyone that sometimes you got to make compromises, And
sometimes
there was no bandmates to make compromises with. There was no producer to compromise with. There was no label people because my brother owns the label. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I think there's something when, it's life on your terms, when you get to decide your own fate, and especially when you're working with family. It is one of the reasons we've been offered record labels in the past, and we've just turned them down because we want to be in charge of what our creative, what our intelligent property is. And to watch somebody take our stuff and make it something completely different than all the blood, sweat, and tears we put into is just not fathomable for me. Like, we're pretty smart in the sense that, we had to learn the business the hard way. And I think a lot of the new up and comings lack that. They just think this is a bunch of fun when being in a band is not fun. Not at first. There's a lot of work that's involved, and to hear that, you can come back after a hiatus and things went this smoothly. I find that, when things like that happen, things are meant to be. And I cannot wait to hear this album. I'm so excited. So you've already started releasing some of the songs from it?
Yeah. 2 singles have already been released. The first one is called Snake Charmer. It's got a really good, sexy groove. And it's about temptation and obsession. And that's a story as old as the original sin, And that's one of my favorite songs on them. And then just this week, I believe, we released a song called There's a Better Day Coming, which every opportunity I get, I'm saying this. Some people have heard the song and thought that I'm singing about that it's a religious song or that I'm singing about heaven. There's a better day coming. I'm not a particularly religious person myself, but that's not what it's about. It's a song about hope. There's a better day coming. No matter who you are, no matter what your life experience is, no matter what your politics are, no matter who you love, just to get out of bed in the morning in this ever increasingly fucking crazy world we live in, you got to have a little bit of hope to keep going, you know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's what that song is about. And it just came out this week.
Yeah.
Next week we are releasing Sad Sad Song, which is
which you and Billy Summers wrote together, right? Summer?
Me and Billy Summer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Billy. I wrote all the songs on this album. On Sad Sad Song, I had all the words and all the music, but I got stuck on the music in the bridge. And Billy came up with something, and I believe in giving credit where credit's due. So he got a songwriting credit.
I get that too. I got a bass player that probably put in 2 notes, but he put those 2 notes in, bro. So, you know.
Well, Billy, man, I love that kid, man. I had so much fun making this record, and he was, Billy played all the guitars on it. He played most of the bass. He co-produced them. He did a whole bunch of the backup vocals. It's no exaggeration to say that without his talent, time, and encouragement, this album would have never happened.
Well, it sounds to me like you needed this. Like you really needed this. Like I can hear it in your voice that, you know, you said that you didn't think that you'd be doing it. And now that you are, I can see this whole new, like, you know, excitement for your music. And I think that's amazing. And that's a real, you know, testament to everyone else watching out there, you know, that you can do this. You can come back and kill it all over again. You just have to be ready for it, you know?
I can't help but be excited. I'm really happy with the way the album came out. And I'm going to tell you a little story about one of the songs. Sad Sad Song is Autobiographical. And I was on the phone one day with my friend Steve Peak, who played all the keyboards on the record. And we were going over the songs he was going to play on and what I was looking for out of him, you know. And I got to Sad Sad Song, and I said, okay, I got one more, Steve, and it's a little different. It's not a rocker, you know. It's a ballad, and it's kind of melancholy. As a matter of fact, it's called Sad Sad Song. And he goes, oh yeah, what's that about, Kev? And I said, well, it's a song about regrets. And it's a song about all the times I let down the people who I care about most in my life. And it's a song about, you know, all the stupid freaking mistakes that I've made in my life. And Steve paused for a second. And then he said, so it's a really long song. Fair enough.
Okay. That's just fair. Yeah. Is it a long song though?
I don't know. It is compared to actually, I think it's the longest song on the album. I think it's about 6 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think that's really kind of funny. Like for me, when I write some of my more ballady stuff, like I have like a 6-pager that I somehow have to fit into like a 3-minute, 30-second song. And like, okay, you know, just get to the point, Bonnie, get to the point, you know? So that is kind of funny.
Okay, I got a question for you, okay?
Sure.
I read in this little thing that my publicist sends me where you said that you tried to talk your band into doing Ball and Chain.
Yep, still trying.
But you lost. My question is, what's wrong with the other motherfuckers in your band that they wouldn't play?
I think my presentation on that, because I learned to actually play drums from Ball and Chain. And I originally wanted to be a drummer. I always thought that like I wasn't the front person looker, and I didn't know I could sing at the time. And you know, I was I was a younger kid, but I really wanted to play drums, and there wasn't a lot of female drummers there. In fact, growing up, you know, the support system for a female in rock just was fucking non-existent. And so I learned how to play that beat, and I started learning how to sing to it. And Ball and Chain is still on, like, probably my top 5 songs on my playlist when I want to do some vocal workouts. It's one of my favorite songs. And, you know, everybody was really into Scratch My Back, and I was really into, like, Ball and Chain. I loved, Red Rose, I think, was one of my favorite songs. I must have had a group of 50 of us singing it at a party one night. And I played drums.
You have better.
I couldn't talk to.
You have better taste.
Go ahead.
You have better taste than they do, because I would still play Ball and Chain or Red Rose, but at my age, I would never play Scratch My Back or Too Cool for School. You know,
yeah,
those are songs.
I loved it because I remember being at a place here in Portland, Oregon. I believe you've been here. Well, I live in Washington, but over in Portland, they have a place that was called the Starry Nightclub. And I believe it was Pretty Boy Floyd that was playing that night. And they were blaring Scratch My Back, just blaring it. And everybody just lost their mind, man. It was, you guys really changed a lot of us Pacific Northwest glam kids, you know, that were, we all kind of ganged together. You know, everybody had a band. Everybody's got a band, right? And, you know, there was us glam girls, and it was really, really cool to watch it go from, like, Pretty Boy Floyd. And as soon as you guys came on, everybody was like, who? Like, who? You know, you guys really set our music industry, our community alight back then. And so you guys have stuck with me ever since. I'm still one of your biggest fans. And
Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it.
Right?
Somebody had to show those West Coast pussies how to rock.
Shit, man. I'm still trying to talk them into it. If I ever did it, do I have your permission to try?
Yeah. You have my blessings.
I mean, I know that, you know, growing up in the industry is not easy. I know being in a band, especially when you had to go from that glam world into your own now, there's a lot of people watching, and I'm sure there's a lot of my friends, especially, that'll be stoked to see you, you know, getting back and doing another album. Give them some words of advice as to, like, how are you feeling about this right now? Like, something positive to get them to live the same dream you are.
Well, it just depends if you think you still have something left to say, you know, and if you don't, then you should sit it out. There's way too many bands out there. But if you feel like you got something to say, it's an obligation to yourself, you know. You have to put it out there. And you never know music is such a positive. I mean, I had a really rough childhood, right? And rock and roll was like, it sounds corny or cliched, but it really saved me, man. Like, I don't know where I would be. It really took me through some dark time. My mother was murdered when I was 8 years old.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
And it's been a long time, but thank you. But rock and roll, and especially like those bands that I mentioned, you know, back when I was a teenager, when I first saw Martha Hoople or Mark Bolan and T-Rex, you know, or David Bowie, Lou Reed, they looked like spacemen, you know, and it was such an escape from my shitty reality. And I don't want to sound, it's true. I'm going to say it anyways. It's true. But something that's motivated me right from the very start was I wanted to be able to provide the same, in some small way, provide the same escape for some kid that I got out of music, you know? And I think I've done that. It makes me feel really good.
Oh, that just warmed my heart, man, because that was me. That was me. My mom, you know, I had a rough childhood too. My mom decided not to be on this earth and made her own decision. And what got me through, believe it or not, was your entire album front to back. It took me to a different place because when I first heard it, like I said, it was my favorite album of all time, still is. Like I could get into it and get away from, all the adult problems I was dealing with. I think I was, 16, 17 years old when this happened. And I can remember just sitting there with, that I ran the tape out, I had the CD, and I just kept listening over and over, and it would just keep taking me to a happier time in my life. I wasn't going to say anything like that just because I don't really talk about this very much. But the truth is I needed that. I don't know what I would have done without your music. I really don't. I was so lost. And it was one thing that kept me grounded to the person I was before it happened. Does that make sense? So I thank you.
Yeah,
I really thank you.
Because it touches me. You're welcome, Bonnie.
Except for Live Fast, Die Young, that was the only one that I was like, let's not play that one right now.
That song was in poor taste, considering.
Something you don't play.
Sorry about that. I've changed it. At my age, it's no longer. Live Fast, Die Young. It's Live Fast, Die Last.
Yes, I agree. With the most CDs, by the way. So you're releasing this kind of in a really cool way. So you're going to do it, through streaming platforms, and you're going to do it on, normal CD function, but you're also going to do a red vinyl?
Yeah, I just happened to have one right here.
No way! Oh my God, I'm dying to see this.
It's on cool translucent red vinyl.
Oh my God,
you see it?
Sick. I don't know.
Limited run on the vinyl.
I don't know who I gotta kill, but I want a signed copy of that. That is so cool.
And I wrote this one song, Don't You Worry About Me. And I wrote it so late in the game that the artwork had already been submitted for the album, including the track listing on the back. So we put it on the CD as like a hidden bonus track. But it didn't even get to be on the album because they said, I don't have a lot of expertise in this subject, but I was told that after a certain amount of time on vinyl or a certain amount of grooves, you start sacrificing a little sound quality if you try and pack too much on there. So we left it off the vinyl. So that means if you love the red vinyl, but you got to have that bonus song that's on the CD, then you got to buy both. And it sounds like a smart marketing move, but it's just because I wrote the damn song too late.
No, it's a great marketing move. But how do we get it? Where are we going to get it?
Okay, well, Friday, February 27th, the album drops. And you'll be able to get it anywhere. Amazon, Target, Tower Records. It's got distribution through Amplified, so that's like major label distribution. You'll be able to buy it anywhere. You'll be able to buy it digitally on anywhere they sell digital music. And but if you want it, the vinyl, there's a limited amount, so you gotta get it while it's hot.
Yeah, I definitely want that vinyl, like signed, sealed, delivered. I want that. It's going to go up on my studio wall. Sorry about the little guy over here. You want to say hi? This is my little rocker dude. He is 3 years old, and he plays drums like you would never believe. You say hi?
Hey, buddy.
Hi. He doesn't know. I can edit this out.
How you doing?
He wants to come say hi. Hi. All right, go get.
Hi.
Okay. So what else you got going on in the future? Are you going to be doing some touring, some playing? I know that you guys have a release party coming up. I believe it's the 27th of February.
Yeah, it's the same. The day that the album drops, that night, we're doing a record release concert down here in Florida, in St. Petersburg.
Oh.
And then at my age, I don't know, you know, when you're in your 20s and you go out on the road, you don't mind the long drives and the shitty food and the crummy hotels, you know. But like when you get to be my age, the indignities of the road are a little harder to put up with. And so I'm not really interested in getting out there and road warrioring it, you know, but my management is looking into some festivals and things. And, you know, I definitely would, I'm really proud of this album, and I definitely want to get out there and play it live, you know.
You know, besides the obvious, you know, from the Roxxgang days to Guru days to now, what is the biggest difference that we're going to hear in this music compared to what most of us are used to?
Well, I'm a grown ass man now. You know, I was a kid when in Roxxgang, and like, you know, all I cared about was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, you know, and a lot of my songs, not all of my songs, but a lot of my songs reflected that. And, you know, here I am, I'm in my 60s now. And
well, you're looking good for an old man.
Thank you. And, you know, my writing, I think, has matured. And another thing, one of my pet peeves is when I grew up, when I was a teenager, like in the 70s, bands were so diverse. You would go to a concert and they didn't put 3 of all the same kind of bands at the show, you know? And bands, they took more chances. These days, bands have a sound, and all their songs, not all bands, but a lot of bands, their songs sound so similar. Yep. And their albums sound so similar. And to me, that's really fucking boring. I could not do that.
Yeah.
And I've always enjoyed listening to a lot of different genres of music. And I enjoy writing, you know, this new album has got rock. It's got what I would consider punk. It's got rock and roll, of course. It's got a funk song. I even wrote a country song on this album called Fingers Crossed. Now, it is tongue in cheek, you know, but it's a country song with pedal steel guitars, and it came out pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. And I like to show a diversity. I got scarred after when Roxxgang, I got tired of being looked at as like, you know, I got labeled as like a hair band or something, you know, which I felt unfairly. And I wanted to show people that, and I did in the Mojo Gurus. I think I went too far, but I was hell bent on proving that I was more than that I could write in different genres and stuff. And a lot of Roxxgang fans did not go for the Mojo Gurus, but like, I've always been very selfish about my songwriting. I write to please myself. I love it when people jump on the train, tell a friend, I'll take you for a wild ride. But, you know, I write to please myself. I got to do what, you know, is in my heart, you know.
And I've been told some of the best advice, and that was to play it for me. Play it because I feel it. I wrote it. You know, when we write music, we definitely write it for us, and we hope that other people love it, you know, and that's, I think, one part of the little bit of success this band. I wanted to take a minute just to let you know that, you know, if you never thought in a million years that your music changed someone's life, it did. It changed mine. And it was because of you, especially you, that made me want to pursue my my music career. And, you know, I'm really proud of where I've become since I was a kid listening to the music I love. And now I get to sit down and talk to the musicians that I love. And I'm honored by that. So I just really wanted to thank you for finding it in yourself again to start writing again, because you give me a lot of hope for my future and a lot of inspiration. And I can't wait. I've got to get this red vinyl album. I have to have it. It's got to be on this wall somewhere.
I'll see if I can get someone to send you
I would love that. I would love that. But I don't
The
know.
internet being what it is, Bonnie eventually appears.
Yeah, like magic. I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for the music industry, for bringing yourself back out here. I'm so excited for this new album. Again, so I'm going to put all of the links for the description in the description box below. Please go out, like, subscribe, share, go get this album. Go celebrate in Florida, you lucky fuckers. And Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time with me today.
My pleasure. I had a good time.
Me too, sir. You have yourself a great day, and you keep coming.
Nice getting to know you. Glad I met. Nice getting to know you. We'll do it again sometime.
Thank you. I would love that. I'd be honored.
From a worried mind, had to find that light of love in lady shine. Yeah, I stood in the water, so cold, blue and clear, and I knew that a better day was near. I shook and I trembled, I was humbled and I cried. For deliverance till my soul was satisfied. There's a better day coming and it's right around the bend. Leave behind your sorrows, all the hard times past the end. There's a better day coming. Lay your troubles aside. Let the river take them to the ocean. Let them roll out with the tide. And if you need a reason to believe, let me tell you, friend, there's a better day coming right round the bend. There's a better day coming right round the bend. There's a better day coming right round the bend. Sometimes Sometimes it's hard to find a reason to believe, but let me tell you, friends, there's a better day coming right round the bend. Yeah, better days are coming right round the bend. I know a better day is coming right round the bend.